In this video, we are going to be looking at using Adobe Spark to create a logo for our theme, Cake Boss. You've already done your planning section within this project, therefore you've already thought of a name that you're going to use, and that's the one that I'd like you to stick with, please. To access Adobe Spark, once you've logged into Hub, click on the menu waffle, which is on the top of the navigation bar, and then select Adobe Spark from the menu. What it'll show you is your recent projects underneath, and then on the top row here where my mouse pointer currently is, you've got different options. So we could make collages, you could make web pages, slideshows, presentations, Instagram covers, portfolios, loads of different things. Okay, so what we're going to click on is the custom size, which is right in the end there. As I've said in the previous video, I generally don't mind what size logo you make, whether you want to make a rectangle, whether you want to make a square, it doesn't matter. What I'm going to be doing in this example is creating a square logo. So I'll be setting my width to 1000 and my height also to 1000. And then once I've done that, I'm going to be clicking on the next button. Okay, they're both going to be pixels, and then it's going to create a shape. Now, Adobe Spark has a lot of things built in for us, and we're going to use some of these features, not all of them. I'm going to expect you to have a little bit of a play with these. There's hundreds of other tutorials around there as well, which will help you basically build your design. The only thing I will say, be careful with some of the tutorials because they've changed the way Spark looks, but the menu is now on the right hand side, whereas it used to be on the top. On the right hand side next to the menu, there's a few different ideas. Now these are different templates that others have built, and they can be used for inspiration, so if you do like the look of them, feel free to have a play around, but I do want you to create your own designs and your own ideas as well. We're going to start off by adding some text in. If you click on the add button, and then you've got an option here called text, when you click on that, you'll see this new window will appear. Built in with this software is lots of different styles and templates, and these really do help you if you are stuck for sort of inspiration and ideas. Be careful though, some of them are going to be no use to you. So for example, this block of text here is probably not going to be useful for a logo, but it would be useful for, say, a website. If we go back to the top and we click on add your text, you then get an option here to type your company name in. Now please remember, whatever company you chose in task 2, so whatever name you chose in task 2 is the one you are going to stick with. I will try to give you a few different things and a few different ideas, so my company names will change. Yours, I don't want them to change. So my company I'm going to come up with now is the Fudge Cake Co. So the Fudge Cake Co, and just to be a bit pedantic, I'm going to put capital letters here. You can see it's added in the name for me, and it's put the Co on a different line. I don't actually want that, but don't worry too much about it, because there's a few other things that I'm going to talk you through first. The first thing is the style that's chosen here. By default, it'll pick a style, and you are free to choose and change. The font style at the top here can be changed by clicking on the drop down menu, and you'll have access then to all of the fonts that are built in with Adobe Spark. If you go through some of these, you may choose one and click on one and like it, great, but if you don't, keep on looking because there's always new fonts that are added all the time. If you wanted to recenter it or resize it, you can, but with this, because it's a logo, you're probably going to keep it to the center. And if you want to change the size, you've got an option there to change the size. You can increase it and decrease it. And just look there. Now this Co has come to the end because we've changed the font. If that didn't happen, so it was like that as an example, then all you do is you click on the sliders and you drag them out and around, and then that will allow you then to put it all on one line. The letter spacing options are quite nice as well, so you can space the letters out depending on obviously what it is you want to do. And you've also got an opacity option here to fade out the text ever so slightly. Now you may not like this color, that's fine. You can click on the color option here and you can choose from a range of different preset styles. Some of the styles do go well with one another, and then obviously others don't. Bear in mind you have already chosen colours as part of your planning task, so can you please try to stick to those colours as best as you can. To change the colours, click here, make sure you're selected on the color. You've got two options. You can either shuffle them backwards and forwards, or if you click on this little menu here, this little slider option, it'll allow you then to change the font, and you can change, the font color. You can change it by dragging the slider up and down to whatever it is you like, but actually I quite like this design, so I'm going to keep it as it is. If you wanted to get rid of this background here, you can. If I click on the shape, at the moment this has selected this type of shape for me. I can get rid of it by clicking on the backing shape there and clicking the it's almost like a no entry sign really, but if I click on that, it gets rid of it. You can have different styles here. You can have loads and loads and loads of fun playing around with these different shapes and so forth. Okay, so again, please spend a little time going through these different styles. You may find something that you really like and think, yeah, I'm going to stick with that. But again, you may be halfway through, change something and think, yeah, I know now, that's exactly what I want. The padding option will allow you to obviously change the padding of it, and the size there will allow you to change the shape of it as well. Okay. You are free to do whatever you want with this. So what we're going to do is look at adding, say, a semicircle or maybe even a circle around this and getting it to stand out a little bit more. If I go back to my add option at the top here, I have a number of different options. If I click on photo as an example, just to show you, I'm not going to use photos in my design, but you are more than welcome to use them in yours if you really want to. You've got an option to upload a photo. So if you've got an image on your computer that you want to send to this, you can upload, or you can search for free photos here. So if we were to search for cake as an example, there's loads of different free photos that you can use, and if you did want to use one, if you clicked on it and then say pin it to background, what it would do is it would put it in for you, and then you can move it around like so. And if you wanted to change the size and shape of it, you've got a scale option at the top here, which you can zoom in and zoom out, and you can also rotate it, or you can flip it depending on what it is you want. I don't actually want an image on mine, so I'm going to click on the bin there to get rid of it, and it's obviously gone back here. If it does do that, don't worry, just click all colors and it goes back there to white as well for you. If we go back to the add here, I'm going to look for an icon. Now I'm going to look for a circle, as I've typed in here, and I want a solid color circle, so I'm going to click on the circle there, and it's added that in for me, and I'm going to just make it a little bit bigger there so it fits in. You'll notice it's put it now just on the top, right? So Photoshop would use layers. This kind of uses layers. So we've got an order option here. So if I click on the order and just drag it back, look, back to 1, it's now gone behind my text, because don't forget this here is a stylus applied to the text. Now the other thing that I'm going to be looking at is, can we add anything else to it? Well, we've obviously got a color option, right? So we can change the color of it if we didn't like that, or if we thought it didn't go. But these suggested colors will always suggest the colors that you've used so far. Remember when we've looked at some of the other logos on the previous lesson, when we looked at the logos on the other lesson, some of the logos have stuck to about 3 colors, whereas some of the other logos have stuck to 2 colors. So you don't want to be making lots of different colors on one logo. To further enhance this logo, I'm going to click on the add, and I'm going to click another icon, and I'm going to look for a cake. If we look for fudge cake as an example, I can click on that, and then it adds in a piece of fudge cake for me. Great, lovely. You can change the color of this by clicking on it and clicking on color. And if you wanted to, say, have it to be the same color as your design there, you can. If you really did want to be a bit garish and out there, you could choose a completely different color, but I'd be very careful about choosing different colors, because obviously you want it to match. If you wanted to change the size of it, click the drag handles and you can drag it in, no problem at all. What happens then if you want more text on here? Well, that's fine. If we click on the add, we can go back to text and we can add some more text on here. So if I wanted to put Pontarddulais in, you can see now it's used the last style that I've used. Now I don't actually want that. So what we can do is we can use a suggestion tool. Now if you look on the side there, look, I've got a style option and we've got this wheel. You can use this as many times as you want, but if you click on this wheel, what it'll do is it'll go through and it'll show you different styles that you could use with it. Now this will cycle through styles and colors and it'll show you a whole raft of different things. This is just an ideas generator for you. So you may find that something here really does suit your design. Now in my mind, what I'm looking for is a font which is going to be small enough, but I can also space it out. Now unfortunately none of these really do what I want, so that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my type here and I'm going to look for a font which is quite nice, quite spaced out, or quite easy to read. Something like this, Futura, there you are. Now this is quite a nice font to use, but obviously I don't like the colour, but I need to adjust the spacing on it. So I'm going to just put it under here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, but I'm also then going to space it out a little bit more. And to make it even better, when I go to the colour option, I'm going to choose a nice dark colour, which will obviously help it stand out there as well. Now I'm happy with this logo, I'm happy with the way it's designed, I'm happy with the way it looks, and I think it does complement my design quite well. What do we do next? Well, the first thing you need to do is at the top there, you need to give it a name. Cake Boss Logo 1 as an example, right? You can call it whatever you want as long as you know what you've named it. That saves it then online for you. And you may notice a little saving box that came up then. The next thing I'm going to need to do is download it. So when we click on the download button, I'm going to then choose JPEG and then click on start download, and what it's done now is it's downloaded that for me, which has gone into my downloads. Your pupil booklet is here, and what you can do is if you click on your pupil booklet, you've got then logo design 1 there, and you need to explain your design. So to get this in, I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to click, drag, and then I'm going to dump it into, so I'm going to click, drag, and just dump it into PowerPoint there for me. Again, it should have gone into my downloads folder, so if you've got any difficulty, you should know it's in your downloads folder. So that's my first logo done, and if I just zoom this in a little bit, I can then look at talking and explaining about it here. Okay, so that's how you design your logo. Once you're done and you're happy with your logo, what you can do is you can go back then to the home, and then you can start again. And then you can build another design. Best of luck. If you've got any questions, please send me a little email and I will do my best to get back to you.